Hey, Segovia, back with another video. We got a good one coming up today, y'all. Let's have some fun. Happy Sunday. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
It's okay, and then we can sing Rockabye Baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle rock. Who's gonna put their baby on top of a tree and wait for the wind to blow to see the cradle to rock, and possibly the child dies. Yeah. And then we're gonna also sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, E-I-E-I-O, right? But then we gotta look, A, B, C, D, E, fifth letter. I, Roman numerals, 6. So we got E-I, 6, E-I, 6, and O is the 15th letter in the English alphabet, and 1 plus 5 is 6. So Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, 666. Maybe we tripping. You know what I'm saying? So I just try, I don't even talk to people much because I don't want them. It's okay.
Okay, we will wait 20, 30 years. Okay, and then back in what, 2011, 2014, the CIA sent in hit squads into Libya to take out. Gaddafi wanted to create the United States
of Africa.
The West didn't want that.
I just fact-checked it. Yes, under Muammar Gaddafi's rule in Libya, there was free access to medicine, education, and housing assistance as part of his government's socialist policies founded by oil wealth. They had plenty.
So the oil wealth,
It's a damn shame.
the nationalization of oil, those profits would go to the people. But Barack Obama didn't want that. The British Crown didn't want that. The West didn't want that. So let's go bomb them. Let's take out Gaddafi. He wasn't gassing his people. He also said to Obama, to the West, if you want to buy Libyan and African oil, you're going to have to do it in gold.
The size of Breijits' hands. And again, I'm not trying to be mean, guys. We're just taking a look at everything. The sheer size of Breijits' hands, the one thing that you can't operate on, right? You can't just be like, I'm going to go in and get new feet or new hands. I mean, you could, but that would probably render your hands and your feet totally dysfunctional. But in terms of cosmetics, yeah, no, you can't do that. Look at this video on Instagram. Wait until Brigitte is standing. You'll see that right hand, the one that doesn't have the bag. It's crazy. It is going to get crazy. Hold on one second. Right there. Look at the size of that hand. That is a very large hand. I'm going to put that right there. That is a very large hand for a madame.
Because we're cutting people's hair, you know what I mean? Like, I got a killing machine right here, like, got it in 20 minutes, but I got to go to school for 1,500. I think now they changed it to 1,000 hours, but when I went, it was 1,500 hours and 2 exams. First off, you got to do 1,000 hours to unlock the first test. You go and you sit down at these computers, and you can't look at nobody next to you. If you look at them and talk, they're just like, you failed. Like if we're taking some CIA exam. Yeah. And you're just they're filling out like, what are the shaving techniques? Like, all right. Then once you pass that test, you can complete. Now you're allowed to do the next 500 hours. Right. So there goes another fucking 6 months of your life. Right. Then when you do that, you got to do the practical in front of the state board. So you go, you take your model. Like if you were my model, I sit you down and I got a bag full of stuff, and I got to separate all my items in different bags and label them. And I got to shampoo you and drape you a certain way. Towel, drape, towel, this. And then when I'm done using that towel, put it in my little trash bag, right? If you were to be like, oh man, I accidentally grabbed the towel that I hadn't used and threw it away, let me get it back from that bag. All that's in it. You lose 5 points. Wow. And then it's like a 4-hour long process, bro. And you can't even talk to your model unless it's instructions. And when my best friend Jaime was right there, he was falling asleep because we had drank the day before. So I'm like whispering, I'm like, wake up. And I start pinching his back fat to like wake him up. But it's like, and then they're walking around just looking at you and like checking you and seeing you talking. I'm like, bro, this is not CIA.
Right. It's not that serious.
It's not that serious. And I walked out with a killing machine from Academy Sports and Outdoors, like in 10 minutes, like, I don't know. That's just the only thing. The barber stuff needs to be like, I think now to get a barber's license, you even need to like know how to do a manicure. Like, what?
Yeah.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised, man, if I looked up in the sky, man, and I seen Jesus coming back. Cause it's getting to a point to where A lot of these restaurants out here, man, ain't even hiding no more, man. A lot of these
Nobody
places
is.
ain't really hiding no more. I'm awake and I'm knowing what's going on. If you know you love a fofo, I love a fofo, I love a biggie bag, I love all that. Nigga, I'm at Wendys and I'm still gonna eat it. Let me not cap. But check it out, man. They got the meal of misfortune here. And look at it. The meal of misfortune. You got the skull in the middle. You got rest in 10-piece. You got the dips of dread. Like come on, man. Yeah, and I did not get I didn't even get the meal of misfortune. I just got a Dave single meal, man, and this is the badge that they giving you, man. Like this is what. Wait, it's Wednesday, not Wendy. Normally I'd be against this kind of capitalistic corporate meal of misfortune is torture in a bag, coffin-shaped cartons, and daring dips of dread. May you rest in 10 pieces. Let me look, man. If my I ain't even looked in this yet. If my burger or my fries comes in a coffin-shaped wrapper, I'm not eating it in the name of Jesus. All right, hold on. Let me pull over to the side. Right here. I ain't gonna lie. If I open this bag and anything is shaped as a coffin, I'm gonna be real. I'm just not eating it. Pause.
That's it. I'm done. I'm over it. So done with this satanic world. Jesus, blow the trumpet. Sound the heavenly host. Please come back and just destroy this satanic world system. I am just so sick and tired of this satanic world system that we are just here in. I mean, it's just all normal. Everybody just walking around. It's all normal. As we can see right here from the new movie coming out from Jordan Peele, him. And what I find interesting here is clearly, as you guys can tell, they are mocking Jesus. He is doing the cross sign or pose with blood. We have up here saying greatness demands sacrifice. As we know, Jesus is the suffering servant, the sacrifice for the sin of the world. And another note, interesting note, in the word him, you have 3 nails. Got a nail here, got a nail here, and a nail here. Almost like the 3 nails that nailed Christ to the cross. The other poster is no better with the one-eye symbolism. And now something else I find interesting, again, just my own personal pattern recognition. It probably means nothing, but I find it interesting that this movie right here, which again, the 3 nails symbolizing, you know, Christ, mocking him, with this right here, never meet your heroes. And this movie comes out on September 19th. This is the weekend before the Feast of Trumpets. Even if it doesn't happen this year, that fall feast symbolizes the return of Christ.
If you really want to kill the most things, be a vegan. Because the farmers who protect your beans kill everything. I kill 1 animal per arrow. In order to grow tofu, you have to kill every ground squirrel, every vole, every shrew, every snake, every turtle, every frog, every bird, every rabbit, anything that gets in that bean field, I'm either going to plow and dismember, which is why the crows and the seagulls follow the combines every year. And then if anything does survive my first slaughter, I'm going to come in with Monsanto and poison the shit out of everything so you can have a tofu salad and not be responsible for any death. Fuck you.
That's a really good point, and it's a point that a lot of people ignore.
Isn't life full of uncomforting things? And you shouldn't be uncomfortable. To kill game to feed mankind is perfect. To kill cows and pigs to feed mankind.
Isn't it weird that not one mainstream media headline is reporting on the fact that 25 U.S. congressmen were in Israel this past week, and 20 more are going to be in Israel next week? These Republican congressmen were all in Israel this past week. 20 Democrats are going to be in Israel next week. Every single one of these trips is completely funded by AIPAC, and the only reason we're hearing about it is because some congressmen are posting photos about it on X. Netanyahu posted this photo on X just 2 days ago. America's Congress is in the Middle East during recess because Mike Johnson didn't want to make a vote on the Epstein files. We're all there. Our congressmen are all in the Middle East. This is so weird. Not one mainstream media wants to report on it, probably because AIPAC told the media don't report on this. They know it's going to cause backlash, so they don't want to put too much media attention on it. Not one single headline reports on this. You know, Lisa, the news girl on X, at least comment on her post telling her to report on this, because it's just weird. This is not getting media attention. People should be calling their congressman being like, what the hell are you doing in the Middle East right now?
This is happening right now, and just wait. I'm telling you, just wait until you see what I have to show you. So Turkey has just happened to be on fire for 2 or 3 months now. The worst fire in Turkey's history. I don't know why it would take months for them to find out a way to put the fire out or have other nations help, etc. But it's just outrageous what's been happening in Turkey. And it's pretty crazy because the areas on fire are the areas where the churches in Asia Minor were from the book of Revelations, the one that were destroyed in the 1st century. And also Greece is still on fire. Specifically a few weeks ago, a place about where the Church of Corinth was actually on fire as well. All of this that we're seeing is extraordinarily symbolic if you really, really think about it. Especially this one, if you know what I'm saying. Now this part is 1000% unrelated, not relevant whatsoever, just a really cool find. I came across this media presentation that Turkey done on one of their news channels of what Turkey was going to look like in the future. They said in the future it would have parts of Greece, Bulgaria, northern areas of Iraq, Cyprus, and Syria. And I actually found it because there was a very weird cloud formation in Turkey a few months ago. I told people to look at this cloud and just to pay attention to Turkey in the future. And no, I'm not talking about the one that was very similar to the cloud that was in Cape Town before the major flooding came. Although it was very similar to this one. And guess what? India is still flooding. I showed you one a few days ago when they were flooding, when they were making news for other stuff. Coincidentally, not relevant whatsoever, Russia is flooding at the same exact time that India is flooding. It's weird, everyone's looking for the end of the world, but somehow they're missing what appears to be the end of the world. But let me know what you think below.
The big money. And you get the invitation to join in these circles to move all the money they want to move worldwide. To start wars. To start all the misery in this planet. Because there is nearly no misery on this planet in a natural way. Most of them is created. Because they keep the system running because it's a dualistic system. They make the money only because when it's dualistic. And if we have all the ships, these energy containers they use only to suck, if they are asleep, fine, you can do whatever you want. This is also the mentality of the elite. Well, they are not elite. They are not elite. The people I worked for in the end of the days, you're talking roughly about 8,500 people on this world who run the show. And they are like who I was. Completely afraid, nearly dead, filling up the holes daily, never enough, surfing the monster of greed, the monster of more. And there comes Lucifer in the end. Because we are talking here about interdimensional things. This 8,500 became my friends. Because it was really coming home. First time in my life I start to be with humans who understand me and I understood them. Because most of them were going through the same hell. They did it in a different way, different bloodlines, but they have also a lot of misery in their lives. Electric caves are a normal thing in the education of this kind of societies.
Can someone explain to me why it's the beginning of August and the leaves are already starting to change colors and fall from the trees?
I done met some strange people. I met a family of people. Nobody had a belly button. You feel me? So I'm asking, like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, be quiet, don't say anything about it. I'm like, man, what the? Okay. And then, you start seeing international laws about banning cloning. The international laws is to ban human cloning, though. If you can clone a dog, you can clone a person. You could buy a designer dog right now.
Yup. 50K, right?
50K, you get a designer dog. So, you know, we just recently seen Trump make a comment saying that Biden was a clone. Retired FBI agent John DeSouza, who ran the X-Files program for the FBI, he has been calling out about this. He calls him Biden's clone. A lot of the events that have been taking place, this gentleman has called them. And I do know that they have these farms where people are having certain organs in their body grown in case they need to replace them in their own body.
Wow.
So then you see people like Musk getting telekinesis patented. And he's doing the Neuralink. So now they're getting ready to make quadriplegic people be able to walk again. And then now they got these cloning farms that you can replace your organ. You can't do that without nanotech.
That's crazy.
Because the nanotech removes the aspect of your body accepting an implant. Sometimes people's bodies will reject an implant that they got. The nanotechnology removes that. So that means what? You're going to see a lot of missing people. It's a proven fact that in the trafficking world, after a while, they can't sell a person anymore. They murder them and harvest their organs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you know, certain countries you can travel to, a kidney is going to be 40 grand. If you got the right nanotechnology, that 40 grand kidney goes to 100 grand because your body's not going to reject it.
Damn.
So they're saying the mass shooter in Atlanta was an anti-vaxxer. Let me preface this whole thing by saying I'm just repeating what the officers on the ground said and what the media is saying. These are not my words, okay? TikTok. But it gets even stranger than that. So far, what people understand is that they believe that he thought he was hurt from a certain thing that we were just talking about. Now, not related whatsoever, 1000% irrelevant. Coincidentally, it happens on the same exact day that RFK came out talking about some stuff. What kind of stuff does RFK usually talk about?
mRNA vaccines.
TikTok, if you come after this video for what the health secretary himself said, I'm coming after y'all. And y'all, not too long ago, we just had the United Healthcare thing with Luigi. Very insane times that we're living in. Now listen to what they say right here.
I got that new reporting from John Miller. I'm going to read this to make sure I get it correct. The law enforcement official tells John Miller that after speaking with family members, police are operating under the theory that the shooter either was sick or believed that he was sick and blamed the illness on the COVID vaccine. So you understand why he may have been targeting the CDC. That's information that we're getting. And we've also been told that people around that area believe they saw that gun being pointed toward that building. That goes along with the reporting that we had earlier. And of course, I told you about sources telling me we needed to be here around 4:50 because they believed someone was trying to attack the CDC.
And for those that say, oh, CNN, Fox, Newsmax, OAN, they're all the same thing. Sometimes in this industry, you just gotta let them talk. As of now, there is one unnamed, critically injured officer.
Can we talk about the guy who worked with NASA as an aerospace engineer, whatever, and he said that there's trillions of nanobots that are surveillance mechanisms basically to gather data on like everybody globally. Everybody wants to say that he's crazy. He waited till he retired till making this claim, I believe. Just like a lot of other interesting cases when it comes to UAPs, they wait till they retire, then they say some heinous stuff, and then everybody says they're crazy or senile. Can we just talk about what he said, though? Nobody wants to address the plausibility and, like, actually pursue some of the stuff he said. A lot of times later on, these people take back their statements or say, oh yeah, I was joking. They realize that it's never going to make a difference, or they really don't want to look crazy, but they still probably believe that. Nobody just says something that's so weighty, carries so much weight to it, and then just says, no, I was joking.
Let's talk about Rihanna. Rihanna was originally discovered by these two men on a Barbados beach. This is Carl Sturken and Evan Rogers, two music producers that are heavily intertwined with Hollywood and had some crazy connections. In fact, right here we see they're connected with Clive Davis. If you know, you know. Now, Rogers and Sturken would bring them back to New York City where she would have a meeting with Jay-Z himself. It was at this meeting with Jay-Z where Jay-Z gave Rihanna two options, and this came from her lips, not mine. He said, you either sign with us or I throw you out this window and we're on the 29th floor. Obviously, Rihanna would sign on the dotted line at 3 a.m. nonetheless, which is also the witching hour. Shortly after signing with Jay-Z in a random hotel room at 3 a.m., Rihanna's career trajectory would take off and skyrocket. Her appearance and her presentation would also drastically change. She went from being like a sweet-looking girl like this to throwing up Symbolism with Kanye and Jay-Z right here in this dark attire, as well as throwing up more Symbolism in the Run This Town video. In the Run This Town video, we literally see Jay-Z and Kanye figuratively pass the torch to her, if you know what I mean. There are many people that insist because Rihanna got away from music that she got away from the evils of the industry, but I simply just can't buy that. Yeah, she got away from music, but she entered the billionaires club, and you know what they say about billionaires. The entertainment, the music industry, the fashion industry, etc., they all share these common themes, guys. It's right in front of our faces. Wake up.
If you live in New York City, stop scrolling. This is for you. Legionnaire's disease, which is a deadly form of pneumonia, has already taken the lives of 3 people in Harlem, and there have been, I believe, a confirmed 58 cases. The bacteria that causes Legionnaire's disease can be traced back to 11 cooling towers in Harlem, and while authorities state that these cooling towers have since been cleaned, it's still in the air. So here's how you can avoid it, and here are some symptoms. And now this disease can be contracted by inhaling water vapor / air containing the bacteria. But unlike regular pneumonia, Legionnaire's disease is not contagious. And the people at the most highest risk include those over 50, people who smoke, and individuals with weakened immune systems. And since it is a severe form of pneumonia, the symptoms are kind of the same: fever, chills, cough, muscle aches, headaches, and maybe even sometimes diarrhea. So if you live in New York, I mean, we got to mask up again, y'all, and stay safe.
And we're 20 minutes in and I haven't said a word. Y'all, apologize. It's been one of those weekends. I took a couple days off. The mind has just been getting at me. Today I had to do a video. I'll find my spot in this video to throw my jabs in, y'all, but I apologize. I'm not talking too much. It's just one of them days, y'all.
My grandma or one of y'all, if y'all out there, you heard me, and y'all hear your son, just let me know y'all living, you heard me? Because I ain't seen y'all since Katrina hit, and I really missing y'all, you feel me? And I'm hurting. I'm hurting. See this body right here? That woman been dead since Tuesday.
There's 6 bodies upstairs on the 3rd floor, and another lady laying on the floor by the lady's bathroom dead. It's just terrible. It's an awful situation to have to live in.
We went inside the convention center, and the only way that I can describe it, and I don't want to get into detail, is that it is the smell of human suffering.
I couldn't stand the smell that's on myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm nasty. My shoes wet, everything wet. I don't have nothing. I felt embarrassed. You know, like I couldn't talk to nobody. And even though, you know, all the people out there, they was in the same predicament. So, you know, we all was like, you know, people who used to having stuff and having things and taking care of themselves.
This is not a conspiracy. This is scary. So in 2018, scientists discovered a black hole really, really far. Like, I want to say it was like 16 million light years away. Something crazy. Super far from us. They're watching it literally swallow a star.
Oof.
It was sucking a star in.
Did it move or the star move?
The star was getting sucked into this black, like, so it was just like light streams going into this black hole.
And where is it going?
Listen to this. What they thought they knew of black holes, well, they don't know a lot. Stuff gets sucked into it because it's just this mad force of gravitational pull that just sucks everything in.
Yeah.
But this year, they looked at the same black hole and it was spitting the star back out. Like, so light and stuff was coming out of this black hole. Just like, so it was like regurgitating this star.
Dan had a really great theory that sort of like a lot of the conspiracy theorists theorize that these helicopters are out there having like, they're shooting at the civilians and they're shooting at the structure on top, the penthouse or something. And maybe there is like, in some of those autopsy reports that people eventually got access to, there are people that were shot directly down through the top of their head.
Really?
Yeah.
So there were helicopters, or there were not?
Oh, there were 100% helicopters. Yeah, and people found them on the like the flight trackers. You can see their transponders, and the helicopters before the shooting even starts, they fly. 3 of them fly over top of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. They turn off their transponders 15 minutes before the shooting starts, and then their transponders are off until after the shooting is all over, and they turn them back on and like fly away. And then there's like all these weird and not to mention that the shooting itself, everyone with any military training, Dan included, all say that is a belt-fed machine gun. That is 100% not a bump stock M4.
What?
Yeah, that is 100% not what they say it is, because bump stocks are also famous for malfunctioning. Like a bump stock is like, it uses the recoil of the gun to rechamber the round, and you can just look them up on YouTube. People, like, they're kind of like a gimmick, like and so they will, like, yeah, they'll kind of shoot like automatic fire, and but inevitably it will jam, especially if you're going to like fire full auto at that kind of rate over and over and over and over.
They said so. The conventional theory on this is official story is
it's
one
a
guy,
single shooter that had this whole room just loaded up with guns.
Yep.
And he smashed out the window with this special hammer, and he just unloaded with these, like, you know, conventional assault rifles with bump stocks all the way across into this parking lot, which is like a long shot. A bunch of headshots happened.
Where we're looking at this, where's the Mandalay Bay Hotel?
Mandalay Bay is down left. It's where all the yellow dots are, down left of the parking lot.
Right there, Steve.
Yeah, right there. That's the Mandalay Bay Hotel.
Oh, okay,
he's on like the 34th floor or something like that. I forget the exact floor. And he's shooting across and diagonal over that parking lot, which is where the festival was.
Got it.
That's the official story. He never left the room. He shot 12 volleys and maybe some like bolt action rifle and stuff, and then he alone in the room with no one there, like an hour before the police even got to his door, with a fucking arsenal of ammunition and weapons all around him, still ready to go. He just was like, I'm bored and I'm tired and I'm out. And he shot himself, allegedly.
Was there any evidence that anyone was in there with him?
Yes, lots. There was so in the hotel records, there was 2 women, 3 women, I think 2, actually like staying with him in that hotel room on the hotel records. But so there's all these inconsistencies. That doesn't make any fucking sense. But and then like they have the photo of him dead, like the crime scene photo, and it's pretty visually obvious that what you are looking at is a dude with a fresh blood, like bullet hole in his head with fresh blood pooling on top of a dried blood stain. It's like clearly 2 different colors of blood happening here.
Oh shit. Right in the forehead?
You don't really see the bullet hole,
right.
but there's also a lot of evidence that the windows were not actually smashed out. Like the photo.
I mean, if you're making these types of allegations, not saying they're not true or not false, we need to see those photos, right? Don't just say, I mean, if you saw the photos, well, why didn't you take a picture on your phone and then bring it to this podcast? And, you know, we got to start holding people accountable. And if you're going to say that on this national podcast, we need some proof, because he gives people like us bad names. If he's just on there talking to get some views, right? I think he should have brought the photo, and let's see.
The crime scene that show the hammer and the smashed glass that are like, look, he busted the window with his hammer. Yeah. They don't really look like what's on the police body cams that got leaked or released of the cop that entered the room with all the cops. So there's all these inconsistencies. But then all around Las Vegas, there's all these 911 calls of people that are saying that they either are seeing people running with guns through these hotels, or they're hearing shots in hotels that are like 3 blocks up the strip, like at the Tropicana. The Bellagio has like 10 different calls in it of people saying that they heard a shot inside the Bellagio, and that there's like people freaking out. There are people that work at the hotels. There's cops that got handed, like, an automatic pistol was found on the ground, and a civilian picked it up and was like, this doesn't belong here, and handed it to a police officer like, hey, I found this. There's like all these fucking weird anomalies all over Vegas, like super far away from Mandalay Bay. And it's not necessarily like, some of that might be people that are just freaking out. Some of it might be people that are hearing echoes.
Right.
But a lot of those 911 calls happened like long after the Mandalay Bay shooter had stopped shooting. And they're reporting like, I heard there are 5 shots I just heard in this lobby of this hotel. And when you go through enough of this sourcing, you start to realize like, this is so beyond suspicious in so many ways. And a lot of the conspiracy theorists arrive at this theory that these helicopters were doing the shooting. And that could be true.
I just got
Now, there's a documentary on Amazon Prime. Do not recommend it. They somehow turned it into racism and stuff. You know how they do, right? But I watched like the first episode, and the cops were saying we're getting reports on this side of the strips of shooting. We're getting reports on this side. You know, there's people in this hotel. They're saying they're shooting. Like there was a lot of reports, and even the cops were saying on their radios that there's a shooter in this hotel or there's a shooter on this street. So there was a lot of that going on. So I think there's more to the story. But like I said, if you're going to go on there, you need to bring documents, right? You need to bring the paperwork. Don't just say it. Bring the paperwork. Show us so that, so we know. You know what I mean? Especially if you got them.
Email from the bank that was like, you have insufficient funds in this account. And I'm just like, yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And they're like, you need to put more money in that. You need more money for this account. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, no, like it's in the email. They're like, no, like we're requiring you to have more. I also require me to have more. We're on the same team. The email wasn't enough. They gave me a call too. And they're like, no, like you need more money. Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you with that. 100%. And then the dude, he's like, no, we need you to have more money. I need me to have more money too. Let's collaborate. Let's do this together because you're concerned, I'm concerned. We need more money in this account.
So I know you guys are aware that Canada's on fire, places on the East Coast is on fire, California's on fire. But have you guys seen South America? What about Africa, y'all? Like,
damn,
the whole planet is on fire. Something has ignited wildfires throughout the whole planet simultaneously. And they're only speaking about California. Y'all, the whole planet, y'all, France and all.
Fires in the western United States. The whole earth is under, like I said, some sort of a wildfire issue. Going up here to Canada, you can see there's hundreds and hundreds. Coming over here to the eastern United States, where there have been issues in northern New Jersey with regard to, they actually showed the ground smoldering in New York. I haven't verified that video yet, but I do believe the video is valid. Wildfires in Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, you name it, there's wildfires. Down in Florida, of all places.
Damn.
They do get wildfires from time to time. I lived in Florida. I actually saw a few here and there. Some of those could be controlled burns, but as you can see, all across Cuba.
Look at Mexico.
Northern South America. All across Brazil. Look at South America.
Look at that.
The majority of South America is dealing with wildfires. Wait till you see Africa. Look at this. These are wildfires in Africa.
And Africa's huge.
Y'all see that, man?
That's crazy.
Look at Madagascar.
You click on it, and it just opens up everywhere you go. Big blossom of wildfires. You click on one, it turns into 10. Going over to one of our favorite places. Look at Madagascar. No, put those out. Come on. We don't want Madagascar. Look at that. Madagascar. Look at all the wildfires. This is a subtropical climate. You wouldn't think this would be full of wildfires, especially in here around the Philippines, Malaysia area, Indonesia. Wildfires everywhere.
The Bible talks about how a third of the earth is going to be burned away, y'all. You guys know that fire is a purifier. I said after the floods, watch the fires. The fires were going to come. And now literally the whole planet is on fire. This fire is here to burn away the illusions, y'all. Something great is happening, y'all. But the whole planet is on fire. I just thought y'all should know that. Let me know that in the comments below, y'all. Did y'all know this? Like, follow, and share for more videos like this. The shift is here. Let's continue to get it. Peace in.
Can somebody smarter than me identify the phenomenon where we're not getting to own stuff anymore? I was recently talking to someone about the Switch 2, and she was like, no, I'm not going to buy it because you don't get to own any games. Apparently there's no place to load a cartridge. I haven't checked this, so if this is not true, then whatever. But I was noticing this in a variety of digital things, including even Amazon taking away the thing where you can like offload your books. So if you want to have not a Kindle, you can't do that anymore because they have all of the books are only going to work on Kindle. And so we are purchasing devices that we should own, but then all of the content associated with said device we no longer own. It becomes digital. And how easy would it be for everything to move to a subscription-based service? So instead of being like, oh, you purchase a book. No, you don't purchase books anymore. You don't purchase games anymore. You pay $10 a month, only $10 a month, and you can access as many games as you want, as many books as you want. But then, you know, that sounds really good. And then a year from now, it's only $12 a month. And then a little bit of time, it's only $15 a month. It's only $20 a month. And meanwhile, they're introducing more books and better games and all this stuff. And then eventually we're just paying much more money per month than we would have been if we just outright owned things. Someone smarter than me needs to analyze this, because
I was just today, I had my boy, I was feeding him, right? And they don't have cartoons like we used to have growing up. You know, there'd be, one Saturday morning on ABC, there'd be like 10 different cartoons that played one after another. Or, on Nickelodeon or Nick Jr., we had all these shows, Little Bear, Franklin, Gullah Gullah's Island, just all these bangers of shows. And now they just play the same cartoon 24/7. Like, look on MTV, ridiculousness, 24/7. Like, I was telling them, I talk to them a lot, and I was just saying they want people to, people are going to be so mediocre. They're going to be okay with mediocre, right? Like, I demand greatness. Like, I don't want the same cartoon on all day. Like, show me something. So I was just saying, you can just think outside the box just a little bit when you get older. You're going to be great, because all these people now, like his age, they're getting trained to just be mediocre. It's just the same thing. We're going to give you the bare minimum and you're going to be happy with it. And that's what a parent's for, right? That's what I'm here for, to teach them, don't settle for mediocrity, because that's what they're training these kids to be. Just mediocrity. Just give you enough to just keep you quiet. Same show over and over, same thing over and over. Same movies, remakes. It's just all getting trained down to be just mediocre in this life, and not my boy.
Happening, but I can't. And how do we stop it? I just want to own stuff. I just want to finitely pay for things. I don't want to be like, I'm going to be 90 years old and have how many subscriptions of things that I've paid for over how many years and never and not own anything.
Have you ever heard somebody explain what paradise looks like in Islam? Well, in case you haven't, let's check it out.
الحمد لله الذي خلق الحور الحسان كأنهن الياقوت والمرجان فجعلهن للمؤمنين قاصرات الطرف لم يطمثهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. أخي أتحبها؟ فلك زوجتان بدخولك الجنان، لا حيض ولا نفاس، لا بصاق ولا مخاط، لا بول ولا غائط. بل لو أن امرأة من أهل الجنة اطلعت على أهل الأرض لأضاءت ما بينهما ولملأته ريحا. لذا تعطى في الجنة قوة كذا وكذا من الجماع. قيل يا رسول الله أو نطيق ذلك؟ قال يعطى قوة 100 رجل. فهي تغار عليك وتغني لك. واسمع إلى قول الحبيب صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو يقول إن الحور العين لا تغنين في الجنة، لكن ليس كغناء كوكبة الشرق أو العندليب. لا، فيا من فتنت بالأغاني الماجنة ويا من استمع للأغاني الفاجرة، لا تحرم نفسك من غناء الحور العين بصوتها الرخيم.
Just put it blatantly to you. The program targets the birth of new babies. So once you have your baby, before your baby leaves the hospital, you no longer get a paper birth certificate, but then you get a digital one that is somehow implanted somewhere on somebody's body. Think about that. But have a listen to this.
The digital ID, which has been a big problem to us for a very long time, is now on a testing mode for the next 2 months. I have been assured by all the stakeholders, led by the ministry concerned, that by December we will be able to launch digital ID, where every Kenyan don't have to carry any paper, plastic or otherwise as an ID. They should be able to be identified digitally.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms.
So my kids have.
Now that's where they start all these things. They start them in Africa, right? They start them over there. It's going to be inevitable. One of these days, if the Lord don't come and refresh us because we're getting too out of hand over here, which is already happening, it's going to happen. Just think, your kid's kid. Think about it. Think about how normal this is. Now think about this 5 generations from now, where this is going to be the new normal. It's inevitable. When your kid's born, they're going to inject it with a chip. And it's just going to be the normal. It's going to be just like, circumcision or things like that. That it's just, it's the normal. You don't think twice. That's what it's going to be.
Complaining about how bad their school lunch is, and they brought me a sample.
Let's see what their lunch is nowadays.
Okay, it's a little interesting. First up, you've got bags of milk. Okay, there's no straw in this bag. It's just little packets of chocolate and white milk. That's something I've never seen before in my life. A random bag of what I thought was cabbage or the beginnings of coleslaw, and apparently it is salad. Okay, bean and cheese dip. I guess you're supposed to use the original Fritos, the worst in the pack, and make you a Frito salad. This is cold, by the way. I don't know how you're supposed to heat this up. 3 random French toast sticks. Oh, man. A pear, got your fresh fruit. And then you have a box of wild berry juice. Now, when I was a kid, this was milk and juice didn't exist. Now this is milk and this is juice. So, I think it's safe to say, overall, this is the worst lunch. These 3 items alone, milk in a bag and prepackaged coleslaw, I mean, this is just, no wonder he wants to take his lunch to school, because who wants milk bag? Can I have your milk bag? If you don't want a sock, you want at 3:30. Hey, give me your milk bag. Chet took my milk bag. Give me your coleslaw pre-made with no ranch or no fork. Also, there's no fork in here, so no microwave. I don't know how these kids are supposed to eat this, and that's why they come home hungry.
This is not only that, but there's no protein in there. I mean, I can't even say the beans might be the healthiest. Were those chili beans? Were they the salad? Maybe it's all carbs and sugar. No protein. I bet in that whole thing, you're lucky. All that food, you're lucky if you're getting 10 grams of protein. Probably getting about 150 grams of carbs, probably more, maybe 200 grams of carbs. 150 grams of carbs, a day's worth of carbs. 10 protein, 50 fat, 80 fat. Terrible, y'all. Terrible. It's unacceptable. We pay so much money. Here in Texas, we pay so much money. Our property taxes go to the schools. Everywhere. We pay so much money to these schools, and they're eating that. Like, we just got to make a change. Is it ever going to come? Is it ever going to come when we come together and be like, enough is enough? We're sending our money to billionaires in Ukraine and Israel, and they're getting the money. It ain't even going to the people. It's not even going to the people. It's going to the people at the top. They're getting new cars, new houses, vacation homes. That's where our money's going, that we work hard for. It's not even going to our neighborhood. It's not even going to our school. It's not even going to our streets. It's got to stop, y'all. It's got to stop. We had a slow start in the video. Segovia's back. Leave a like.
Mystic Manly P. Hall, 33rd degree Freemason, most widely known for his
myself
book,
up.
The Secret Teachings of All Ages. What you don't know is after moving to LA in the early 1920s, Hall became a personal spiritual advisor to many artists, screenwriters, actors, and studio executives, most of whom worked at MGM, Paramount, and Warner Brothers. Most prominent of these individuals being Walt Disney. Quick side note, although not in entertainment per se, although I consider politics entertainment at this point, Hall also met with Ronald Reagan at Hall's Philosophical Research Society, which was Hall's library as well as lecture hall. Lecture Hall was his nickname. Other figures associated with Hall's teachings include Dracula actor Bela Lugosi, whose wedding was officiated by Hall, and who, according to numerous accounts, would allow Hall to perform hypnosis rituals on him during the filming of Black Friday. Black Magic Friday, if you will. A murder mystery in which astrology was a key tool of the detective. Burl Ives, a singer and actor who would regularly attend Hall's Philosophical Research Society, believed he was the reincarnation of 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason Albert Pike. Pike wrote the Masonic magnum opus, Morals and Dogma, and was essentially the pioneer or the pope of early Scottish Rite Masonry. Warner Brothers producers Cecil B. DeMille and Samuel Goldwyn would reach out to Hall for occult story ideas as well. Elvis Presley was reportedly a fan of Hall's as well, and sent Priscilla to some of his lectures, as he was afraid of being mobbed. Hall was known as the High Priest of Los Angeles, bridging mysticism with emerging media culture.
What image is on this cloth?
This is an image of a bearded man, a strong man, a muscular man, height of 5'10" to 5'11", which is interesting because the average Jewish height in the first century was 5'7" to 5'9", so this man would have been taller. He weighs around 170 to 180 pounds. And since this is a contiguous cloth, it's not strips. We're not talking about mummification, right? The Jews didn't embalm. They had to bury the dead on the day of their death. And that's what we see consistent with all the first century or late Second Temple.
They did not embalm.
They did not embalm late. And so they didn't practice mummification. This is why when you read the Gospels and women are coming to the tomb of Jesus on that, what became that first Easter morning, which we know is April 5th, AD 30, or April 9, AD 33, depending on which year you go with. Women are coming to complete the spicing of the body. Why? Because the body would stink. The body's in rigor mortis. Jews would mourn the dead for 7 days inside the family tomb. They would mourn, they would spice the body. And so the women are coming there on that first Easter morning, not realizing they're going to be the first evangelists of the Christian faith because the tomb is empty and they see Jesus alive again.
What does it mean to spice a body?
They would perfume it with myrrh, with aloes, because of Jewish burial traditions. Remember when Lazarus dies, he's been dead for 4 days. And Mary and Martha are like, Jesus, don't open the tomb. The body stinketh, according to the King James Version. That's why they would spice the body, because for 7 days you mourn the dead at the family tomb.
So you have to sit next to the corpse,
right,
and the corpse is rotting.
Yeah, I've been in hundreds of Jewish burial tombs. They're all like the shape of our hand. And so you would walk in the tomb. It's always cut out of limestone, and the tomb has different niches. So the fingers represent the niches, but you would pray, you would worship, you would mourn the dead inside essentially a gathering point within the tomb of Jewish burial traditions.
And there'll be slots cut into
these niches. Right, and in those niches are these bone boxes called ossuaries, because 1 year after your family member, your loved one died, you would collect the bones, and those bones would then be placed in a bone box. This is a thing called ossolagium, and that's why when you go to the land of Israel today and you see 150,000 bone boxes on the Mount of Olives, that's all Jewish burial traditions. And so this is very insightful because we see a correspondence with everything we learn about the shroud, and it bears correspondence with the first century world of Jesus.
All right, family. There you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. If you made it this far, y'all know what to do. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Scoba's got to get his mind right. You know, it's my own fault. Luckily, I'm blessed to know that I know what I need to do to fix it, right? I'm not here being like, what's wrong with me? I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, why do I feel this way? I don't know what to do. Like, I know what I need to do, thankfully, right? So we need to do it. You know, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. It's simple. Life is so simple, y'all. It's so simple to have a happy, less stressful, I don't want to say stress-free, less stressful life. It is so easy, but it's the hardest thing ever. But the concept of it is so easy. It's just learn to say no. That's it. If you can learn to say no to your bad vices, to your bad habits, if you do what's hard in life, life is going to be easy. If you do what's easy in life, guess what? It's going to be hard. If you're having a tough life right now, take a step back and look at what you're doing and just say to yourself, is this easy to do? Is it easy to go get a burger and fries instead of cooking you your dinner? Is it easy? Is it easy to go, get that alcohol instead of, sit here and drink some water? Is it hard to go outside and go for a run, go for a walk? Is it hard to go out and work out? If you start doing the things that are hard in life, your life's going to turn around. Segovia included, y'all. I ain't perfect over here. I struggle every day with everything, but I know what I need to do to get to the, to the great level mindset, and I'm working on it, y'all. But anyways, y'all, I hope you guys had a good weekend. Sorry I didn't see you guys this weekend. Like I said, I've been going through it these past couple days. I had to get on here and bang out a little reaction with you guys today. We're going to go get some groceries right now, go to Sam's Club, probably Walmart, get a little bit of stuff. Not much groceries out here where I'm at in Texas, y'all. We don't have the best grocery stores out here. I would love to have me a nice Kroger or a Safeway or something like that right here, but we don't got those. We got Sam's Club and we got some little food markets out here, so got to make the best of what you got. But anyways, y'all, this is Segovia. I'm signing out of the Man Cave. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow, y'all. We're gonna be back later.